Well, hello students. Hope all is well. I'm making this video because um, I have such a passion for leadership, and I want to explain a little bit about what it means to discover the leader in you. Well, the title may not really point to a course that you would take in, I don't know, successful leadership or leadership 101 or leadership 3000. I don't know. But what I do want to tell you is that this particular course has to do with discovering who we are for the potential of being not just an adequate leader, but a great leader. And it's a lot more than just a rah-rah type of um, speech that I'm trying to give you here, or lecture, whatever you want to call it. But before you sign up for this course, I want you to seriously think of why it might be different than other leadership courses you might have taken. For one thing, is that discovering the leader in you really talks to your potential as a leader. And, there's that old theory, our leaders born or our leaders made. Well, the reality of the situation is no one has ever come up with a true answer about that. Some people believe that they were born with a leadership gene, and actually, I wrote a book about just that. A gene that stays dormant until there's a need for someone to lead, and then, like a seed in a plant, it remains dormant and then it starts to flourish into a beautiful flower. Um, that analogy may not be the greatest, but the idea is that a lot of would-be leaders never discover their potential, and they let so many opportunities go by because they don't really see what's inside of them and have the confidence to know that not only can they drive themselves forward and be visionary, but also many others. Just some people do this instinctively, they naturally lead, and some people learn how to be leaders. One of the things that, if you read about retired General Colin Powell, he will tell you that he didn't think he was ever going to be a leader. His parents sent him to military camp because he was so unruly. He wasn't someone that you could put your hands around and say, hey, you're going to be a great leader someday. So there's a lot of dynamic in that. But what this course does is it explores the different facets of leadership. And what I do is I essentially go out and I interview people who are in key leadership roles. For example, one of the fantastic leaders that's in my class now, I'm sorry, was in my class on leadership, was the new commissioner of the Boston Police Department, William Gross. Um, it was kind of amazing that he was actually able to take this course on a laptop. And he wanted to take it because he really felt that the thousands of policemen and civilians that he was leading at the time, he was superintendent in chief, they would be able to take on his inspiration, take on his motivation, and say, no matter how good of a leader you think I am, we can always do better. I want you to drive this train with me. I want you to find out what's inside of you. Whether you're a patrolman or a sergeant or a captain or even a superintendent. The idea is that we're all in the same dynamic of leading. And to understand those that you lead, you've got to understand more about yourself, your inner self. Now, don't confuse this with, there's a lot out there about mindfulness. This is not mindfulness. In a sense, it could draw some of the principles of mindfulness of, who you are, getting inside of yourself. But this focuses on your ability to motivate others by setting example, by being a servant leader, by setting direction, by being visionary and setting goals. So this will be the third time I'm doing this course, and I've had everyone from, I should say anyone from police, nurses, firefighters, a lot of people who work in municipalities um, listen to, and students as well, management students and those coming from the corporate side of things. No matter what you do or what you lead, okay, they were they were able to share with one another. I put a lot of threaded discussions in here in this course so that it simulates a classroom experience. So that's what I want you to do. I want you to be able to more communicate with one another from all different people, of all different leadership roles or want to be leadership roles, coming together to synergize in a course. I put some really good interviews up there. I've interviewed Commissioner Evans, Boston Police, Superintendent in Chief at the time, William Gross. I've interviewed a very good friend of mine, the co-author of my first book, Kenneth Strong, and we wrote about leadership being a choice. And he was an operations manager for a very large healthcare company. I think that when you look at all of these individuals who make a difference, they make a difference because they don't go out there and say, "I want to make a difference." They go out there to make a difference just because of who they are, more than what they do. What they do falls into place when you discover who they are. They are people who really care, people that have passion and understanding for those that they work with and want to work with. They want to bring others forward and they're not threatened by success. They embrace it. So these are the types of things that we look at in this course. So you've got your videos, your synergistic threading discussions, a couple of essays I'm throwing in there, and a lot of reflection points too. And I want you to know that this is very non-threatening. By that I mean that the threaded discussions are asynchronous, so you're not put on the spot. You have a time to reflect on things and what others have said, throw your input in there. And what I usually do is I put every week into a folder so you know exactly what you're going to do throughout that week. Okay? So think about what this course offers and what it could potentially do for you. And I look forward to seeing you in class. All right.